So yes, long awaited, and just special shout out. People gave some of my other Nolan videos a chance. Don't worry, a lot of Nolan is coming, a lot. So finally, it is here. The first. I'm sure there will be some other posters for the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's historical epic. I don't think we know. I'm guessing he's not gonna, stick to the text. But there we are. So we now have some of the first images for the Odyssey. They did share Matt Damon in armor. But we've obviously been very curious. So far, there are only two official roles that have been specified, the Matt Damon role and the Tom role. And for those who don't know the story, spoilers, even though we've had it for thousands of years, he's basically playing the son. Okay, that makes sense. He's a much younger actor. But we really don't know who the other people are playing, except broadly, obviously, the story involves people and gods and creatures. So it's going to be quite interesting to say who is playing what or in what way, because obviously I think Nolan is going to adapt this material, not strict fideliously to what Homer laid out. And you might say, well, why should I watch you? What do you have that the other YouTubers? Well, for one thing, I actually know the Greek. And so I am good faith putting here my Plato, which I was reading today. Yes, I've actually read Plato quite a few times. But his Greek is very interesting. It's a very stylistic way of writing it. And you may not believe this, but Homeric Greek is its own thing, so I will patiently go through that text. I actually did like reading Homer back decades ago. It's a very interesting story. So essentially, this is the journey of going home, and to put it mildly, things get complicated. But even if you've not read the story yourself formally, you probably have picked up pieces here and there because it has been used, adapted, restructured in so many different ways. So for instance, like the sirens, that's where it comes from. So that mythical image of these women tempting men into the water, that is from Homer. So a lot of things you don't know are from Homer, they're from Homer. Most obviously, like The Simpsons, the guy called Homer. Wonder why he's called Homer? Well, 3 guesses. So there we are. So I'm sure Nolan will do something very unexpected. And although I do love and admire him, I will say I'm not a total fanatic. I mean, Nolan, I don't think has ever made I think technically only one bad film, probably Dark Knight Rises. So except for Dark Knight Rises, he's never made a really bad film. But the films are challenging, and sometimes they're good challenging, and sometimes they're bad challenging. Like Oppenheimer was great, near perfect. I'd recommend that in a second. I paid like $30 for my ticket, but it was worth it. I was like, wow, $27. Okay, that's a little expensive, but it was worth every dollar. Tenet, on the other hand, even though they kept that in theaters forever, I will say, to be fair to Nolan, I was exhausted. I was so overworked. I was just out of it. But I tried to give it a chance, and it was puzzling, which it should be, but it was also just sometimes a little bit too bizarre, even for Nolan. I just kept thinking, okay, the story is these bad people from the future will give you gold to destroy the present. Right. Okay, well, I'm going to try to look at Tenet again. It is definitely a very out there film, which is what we love about Nolan. He will take risks. He will do things that are never quite traditional cinema. He has admitted he does do things for a mainstream audience. He's not trying to be uber experimental, but he will always do things that are not exactly what you expect. So whatever I think we're going to be getting, and that's in the original text, it doesn't really have a stable linear story. It sort of goes back and forth between different perspectives, time periods. So even back then, the Greeks were experimenting with form, but I think Nolan is going to take it to the next level, and given a fairly good budget and an insane cast. I mean, this cast is out there. I don't think we've ever had any cast like this, and it has a few veterans like Anne Hathaway, right? Matt Damon. Even though Matt Damon was more of a cameo, frankly, in Interstellar, he is incredible. I always liked Matt Damon. I love him, admire him, but what he does in Interstellar it's out there. It's really out there. Even though I think a lot of the human performances were not that good, it is a very intriguing film. So added to this, beyond the poster, it's not yet coming, we are going to get a tease soon. So yes, it's official. some kind of tease. I would imagine this is not going to be more than like 20, 30 seconds. It's going to probably be a really small little tease. But nevertheless, we're all going to be dissecting it frame by frame. And whatever else you think about Nolan, he will always give you a lot per frame. I mean, again, this is a filmmaker who embodies that term. So whatever we're going to get, it's going to be a cinematic experience. Will it be good, though? Yeah, I mean, he has Dark Knight Rises, but that failed for many reasons. It just didn't seem to fit the story because they lost Heath Ledger. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger, but clearly that was not what they wanted to do. And so it just felt really weird and unnatural. I will thank him for having a better version of Bane than Batman and Robin, but what Bane was up to, really, I'm still not clear. What was the plan? Why is Batman acting the way he does? There's just so many weird puzzles with Dark Knight Rises. I know it does have its fans who really loved it, but yeah, I'm more on the critical side that this thing is just bonkers stupid. And again, I have criticisms of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, but those were good films, but flawed films. Whereas Dark Knight Rises is just laugh out crazy stupid and just incompetent. And it's just like, is this intentionally meant to be not a good film? It's just such a weird film. But that is probably the only film where I think a lot of fans are still not clear what he was up to. The other films, you can not like them or think, it's not what I wanted, but they're definitely serious efforts. So here's hoping that the Odyssey is, more or less like his other films. I still think Following is one of his best films, so I don't think he's ever gone back to that, but we don't know. I mean, Oppenheimer really shocked me. Beyond being a good drama film, it actually had really good jokes. And one thing with Nolan is most of his jokes and most of his comedic writing is not good. It's just he's not a very good comedy writer, but Oppenheimer was really good and balanced in terms of having comedy and drama. So he has had, a mixed record, but everything I'm seeing so far in terms of the grandeur, the scale, obviously practical effects, everything just seems so right. And this cast is so talented. It's hard to believe this will not work, but we have been here before where, this is a new Nolan film. How could it possibly be bad? And I don't think Tenet is a bad film. I would say this is my problem. I just don't understand it. But at the same time, I'm like, no, this doesn't seem like what it should be. But again, it's Christopher Nolan. So what exactly he's doing up to, only the gods know. I mean, Nolan is just sometimes in his own space. But I think this one will definitely be interesting because it is such a classical piece of literature. And I'm guessing scholars and experts will be stumped about the choices he makes and saying, oh, okay, we're going to take the story in that direction. Interesting. But if you know Nolan, and again, I can't do it in this video, he has made allusions to Greek literature and Greek philosophy a lot in his films. If you study them at a deeper level, this stuff has always been there. But he's never done it so frontally. Like we've had him adapting material, like adapting novels, but like really classical literature, this is his first attempt. So it is a bit of a risk, but that's what you like about Nolan. If nothing else, he is a risky filmmaker. And there we are.